So here at lunchtime at the Rovers Return, these people not just having their lunch and maybe a drink with it, they're also learning how to speak Manx.
Sure. Well, it's just over the last navaveg one year, navaveg Tasjach, and she was so she's having just slowed both and it reached how to go, they reached Shene one year. Well, it's just that I'm hoping over the next part of my work is about raising the profile language, but also getting more people to speak Manx. Okay, so we're in the process of developing new sort of methodology and ways of helping adults to learn, take up the language and progress to a degree of fluency really. So this is just one class we do. We're trying to increase the number of classes, particularly in Douglas at lunchtime really, and so over the next couple of years that's part of the aim. Better methodology, more adults learning the language, more adults become fluent, being able to speak it.
But doing it in a pub, that's the angle I'm looking for. Why, how did this come about?
Well, it's just handy for people, really. Why not? Crenfenach, why not, really? But it's not just about, you don't have to go to a pub to speak Manx, okay? But it just happens to be an appropriate place, and we've got, of course, loads of Manx on the beer mats here. Okay, so Joch for beer, and Velugiri Joch, do you want a drink? To which you can say te or hanel, yes or no. So Joch is a drink. Velugiri Joch, and you might want a Joch and Dorish, which is a drink at the door, which is a one for the road. So before you go, we'll get you a drink. Unskilled in Manx.
So here over lunch, the people who join you, you just will have a drink and you
well, this is sort of it's more of a well-established class really that we're doing. So it's a proper lesson, but with I only have soft drink, of course, and just a bit of Manx. Yeah.
What sort of people come to these classes?
Well, they're mainly people are obviously someone interested in learning Manx, and people who are just keen to improve their conversational Manx really. So it's not just about learning a bit of Manx; it's learning a lot of Manx.
So on normal sort of lunchtime, what would you teach? Just a couple of words, or phrases?
No phrases. Conversational Manx. How to put together a conversation really.
What would you say to the UNESCO man who said that the Alaman was one of those languages that Manx has died out?
Yeah, well, I told him that wasn't the case. Okay, and UNESCO are supposed to be contacting us. I think one of the guys I was talking to, who does know vaguely about the language situation here, although much less than I realised. Hopefully he's going to come over. But a lot of the problems, I think, is just general. Most people don't know where the Isle of Man is. And basically, the people putting together the Atlas of the World's Endangered Languages really don't know much about the Isle of Man or the language situation here. Really. Most of their evidence came from one article in one book published, 15, 16 years ago, and so unfortunately it was a comments based on not a lot of research really. So we're hoping to address that really.
He was saying basically it died because it's not your first language. At the end of the day, when you live in the Isle of Man, the first thing you learn would be English, and then you start learning Manx. What do you say to that?
Well, that's case, but it's still a living language. There's a Gael school, all the children there speak Manx all the time. There's been no break in it. People I learnt it from the native speakers. There's always been a community of Manx speakers, even if maybe their first language was Manx. But to say, I don't, that's not a position I agree with really. It's very much a living language. People still speak it in a conversational way. People have learnt it to fluency. That we have loads of tapes, loads of records of the native speakers. I learnt it off Brian Stowell, who learnt it off Ned Madrill and the Gow and stuff. So people like that need to come to the Isle of Man before they talk about something that they don't really understand, to be brutally honest, because they don't. They have a very academic position on things, and there's a lack of flexibility in that academic approach, really. And it's similar to what people have been saying about the Isle of Man being tax haven and all that sort of stuff. It's easy throwaway terms, but it's not really based on any sort of analysis of the situation here, really. And just as the Manx government is trying to readdress people's perceptions of the Isle of Man as an offshore finance sector, we need to do it regardless of language, basically, because a lot of comments like that are basic. Someone like that might not be able to say the capital of the Isle of Man is Douglas, for instance. So why should we, particularly have much, take on board everything he says about language? Because he doesn't really, not really saying it from a degree of any level of understanding, I don't think.
Is there an interest in learning Manx from outside the Isle of Man?
Oh yes, particularly in Ireland. I get loads of people from Ireland wanting to learn about language. They use learnmanx.com, brilliant website online. You can look at loads of stuff there, loads of sound files, get loads of interest from people off Ireland now. Obviously Ireland, because of the linguistic connection that's in particular, but not just there.
So, do you think in English or do you think in Manx?
I don't think at all. I think avoid things. Well, both really. I'm bilingual, both thinking and speaking. But I don't dream in either. I can never remember any of my dreams. So they may well be in Manx, may well be in English, but I can never remember.
Is it an easy language?
Oh, very. Well, it's no more different and easy than other languages. It often depends about how it's taught, I think, really.
You find people slipping them between English, Manx here. That's sort of...
yeah, well, people that's nature, and particularly fluent people will sort of have a degree of linguistic maybe they sort of move backwards and forwards. That's not uncommon, I don't think.
Right. So give us something in Manx then.
Well, Shendalua, Tammy Giri, Jork and Dorish. I want a drink for the road. Shendalua.